So this is like okay. So this is a Dabi, Aizawa, and Shinso reacting to if you told them that you were pregnant. Um, this is all fluff and sweetness, and there's a tiny bit of Angus, but that's only a tiny bit. And I haven't read it, so I don't know. And this is for the soft and tired looking boys. So why don't we get started? Dabi could feel you holding your breath every minute he was around, for days and weeks before you finally let it out. Dabi, you called, taking his attention off of a coffee mug so he could look at you. He already knew. Of course he did. He was very attentive of you and knew you'd missed 2 periods already. He also noticed that you had put in on a little belly weight. That in the fact that he felt like he knew in his heart if he had the right to say he had one was enough. I'm pregnant, you said, with a hand over your belly. His expression was unreadable at first, but when he put the mud down, a relief like emotion washed over his features as he embraced you in the warmest hug. I know. I thought you'd leave me, he had confessed. It actually scared him more than the spawn currently growing inside of you. He knew you did not love the lifestyle he lived, even if he tried his best to keep you uninvolved. And since you've been keeping the pregnancy to yourself since finding out, he couldn't decide whether to think we should run away with the child or get rid of it. And deep down, and even though he eternally thought he would end up walking out of your life for good years from now, he was glad you decided to share it with him. You know I wouldn't. I could not. I love you, but Dabi. Then that's when the tears came, and you hold him tighter. It needed to stop. You could not raise your child in a war zone, much less when their father was one of the people causing it. I know, listener. I know. You don't worry about a thing. He said, caressing your hair. I have a plan. He comforted you in your arms, what felt like an eternity, and he did indeed have a plan, since he had found out that there was a piece of him in you, full of innocence and love. He knew he wanted better for this child than the life of a villain. He was worried for the life to come, but that didn't mean he'll show it. He was going to protect you, both with his life until his last dying breath. And that was a fact. Not even the League of Villains or his own vetted desires could even change, at least he hoped so. This is a little bonus. You two had a girl, and that made his weak to his knees. She, Deanna, then as I say it, has her mesmerizing blue eyes. The first and only known time Dabi has cried. By cried, I mean she looked 2 tears before he roughly rubbed his eyes. Was when she went missing at a mall for an hour or two. She was 2 at the time, and Dabi couldn't shake away the thought that the League had taken her away from her as a punishment for leaving them. When she was found, he literally didn't let go of her or you until all 3 of you were back home safely. Daya was as as he could call her, the fire of his eyes. Shinso, to be honest, your relationship with him wasn't formal. It was more of hookups, and benefits. But he trusted you like no one, and same thing with you. You knew of his dreams and aspirations, so you felt like you would have betrayed him by getting pregnant. A child could only get in his way. So you panicked. You also had your own dreams to follow, and you were both still young. We're fucked. I fucked up. I'm sorry, Hushdi. Tears already sprinkling down your cheeks as he just frowned deeply at the other side of his phone. What is it? I need you to come meet me by our place. He was confused, alright. You never had acted like that with him, so it was an unsettling feeling. He cared for you and he hoped you wouldn't break up, whatever the two of you had, but he mostly hoped you were okay. Listener, he found out he found you sitting on the floor, face between your knees and a shaking frame. Listener, what? You looked up, and it hurt him to see that you were had a despaired state. I, I'm sorry, sorry. You choked out, and he bent his knee to put a hand on your shoulder. What's up? He he always had that calm demeanor that most of the time pissed you off. Today was no exception. You damned! Before you could finish the sentence, a fog clouded your mind, and you felt dizzy. Had he just calmed down? He commanded, sending a chill down your spine. When your mind obeyed him, he let go as quickly as you regained control. You slapped his face. Let that be the first and last time you used that quirk on yours on me. He chuckled, taking your hand in his. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What happened? Are you okay? He says while looking down at your hand. He was absently drawing nonsense and it with his finger. He smiled. I hope this doesn't hurt us, Shinso. You started intertwining your hand with his. He was stiff now, but you didn't dare look at him. Why would I? Uh, I'm. We. Unable to find the right words, in a despite move, you pulled his hand down to your stomach and pressed the palm of your belly, hoping he would get the message. Listener, what? It took him a minute. You looked at his confused expression and as realization drawn on it, he took a hand to your mouth. It took you on it to take your hand on your mouth. You're pregnant? And there came your tears again. I'm sorry, Hachishi. I don't know how this happened. He chuckled, interrupting your rant, and you looked at him, bewildered. His eyes were still on your belly, and it made your face flush. I have a pretty good idea about how it did, he said with a smirk, and that swept his hand away. Hachi, this is serious, you say, hiding your face on his knees again. After a second or two, you feel him grab your face, and you relented to open your eyes, even as he wiped your tears off your cheek. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be sorry either. We both made a mistake, and we'll have to deal. But I can't see you like this. His final comment made you look at him, only to find his purple eyes staring back. He was never this sweet. I guess this is a bad time to ask you to become my girlfriend, huh? He said, taking a hand to the back of his neck and he smiles. What? Hitoshi, are you even thinking straight? We got a situation here. I am, and I can't tell my parents I got just one girl pregnant. She gotta be my girl. So 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 you're not angry? But we're so young, and what about becoming a hero? My parents were young, listener, and I can handle it. He said, taking your hand in his to kiss it. You need to trust me. I got your back. I didn't think you'd want this, he said in a whisper. Listener, we created something, and it's already by far the best thing I've done. He says, taking your hand on your belly again, making you flush deeply. It isn't ideal, but I don't think I would have it any other way or with anybody else. But Toshi, tears prickled your eyes, but this time these were the happy kind. And you smiled as you threw your body into his arms. Thank you. You felt him smile as he rested a hand on your back. I've got you, both of you. And with that, he pressed a light kiss on the top of your head. Bonus. Shinso held onto his word, and he was a really big help with telling your parents. It it really wasn't easy. But he worked hard until your baby boy was born, and even harder after that. He worried so much he wouldn't even let you study too much. Whoever dares say something mean to you at school about your state and how to deal with a very scary Hitoshi. On a really bad day, he brainwashed people into doing things for you for the rest of the week, which led to a few fights between you two until he stopped. Now, you were glad to say that it had all played off. Shinso and you married, had your own house and jobs, and your boy was a happy little purple hair spawn. There was another bundle in the making, and Shinso was thrilled, getting to enjoy your pregnancy this time around with a lot of belly rubs, pampering, and when he thought you weren't paying attention, lots of talking to your unborn child. Aizawa. You had been happily married to Sho, Shoto for 3 years before you got pregnant. You guys weren't trying to get pregnant, but you had talked about kids. And you knew that being a teacher, Shoto had mixed emotions about becoming a father. That don't did not stop you from being excited as hell, though. You admired your husband so much, how strong he was after being through so much. You felt he finally deserved something to go right in his life. And with the League of Villains long forgotten, the time was more than perfect. You wanted Shoto to feel the same way you did, so you prepared him the cutest little surprise you could think of. Since he was a very private person, including people on this was beyond the question. But that didn't stop you from telling a few of closest coworkers, just so that they, just so he could lead them on during the week. Also, they had to keep him occupied until everything was ready. The day you would tell him. It was very simple. You would greet him and with a nice date night prepared. Then you would give him a box full of things. Things that belonged to the two of you for in your early years. You knew it would annoy him if it took him forever to get to the end of it. But that is exactly how you wanted him to be by the end of it. You put him, you put it in there, everything, anything imaginable. Life, like for example, the clothes he had left the hospital in as a baby. Both of you, your childhood photo albums, a blanket your mother said you used to love, some of these baby shoes, and the list went on. All this so that when he got to the bottom of the box, he would find an empty photo album. He would just be confused as hell. There was only going to be one picture inside it. It would be the first sonogram picture. And on the back, it would read, newest addition to the Aizawas. You were preparing everything for when he got home that day. You were planning to get everything on video so you could rewatch the moment forever. You cooked him his favorite meal. You even found his favorite childhood movie so that you guys could watch it afterwards. And you were finished with the box. But you fell asleep. Just 5 minutes later, before Mike texted you that Aizawa had just gone home, you had fallen asleep in the bed after taking a break. You couldn't blame yourself though. You had a very hard time finding all those things and preparing everything. And apparently, growing a human being was already taking a toll on you. You were exhausted. And the only thing that woke you up was a cold hand and a pepper kiss on your cheek. While you slowly opened your eyes, you realized it was Shota was laying next to you. A dumb smirk on his face while his thumb was massaging circles on your exposed tummy. You smiled, still half asleep and completely oblivious. Welcome home, you greeted him in a soft voice. Dinner was great, he said, and you smiled, closing in the distance as you rested your face on his chest. Thanks, I made it especially, and then you realized you had messed up. Fuck. Your eyes were wide as your husband chuckled. Did you see? Did you see? Dumbass, 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 listener. I did. There was a small smirk on his face, so I'm gonna be a dad, huh? No wonder everyone at work was so bubbly. But, sure, he slapped his chest. You weren't supposed to see that. I had planned it and I screwed it. You felt in one hand on the back and rubbing your face. I missed your reaction. Shoto chuckled, his cold hand caressing your pouty lips and pulling himself closer to you. Then realized he was holding up the sonogram picture, which you were writing in before falling asleep. I love you and this. He waved the small picture. It makes me very happy. He leaned and gave you a deep kiss. He grabbed the sides of your face, and you could feel the sides of your mouth beginning to curl up. You chuckled into the kiss, and you both pulled away. Nothing ever been more precious to me as you are in this moment. I don't feel surprised to make this any more special. You had me so happy, listener, he said just before kissing you again. Your heart felt like as it was going to burst from all the things Shota was making you feel. And actual tears spilling from your eyes. Shota made sure to wipe each one of them away with his lips. I thought this is as sweet as you have even been in the whole marriage, you choked in his house. Aizawa wasn't very impressive, that was no lie, but he was a very passionate man. And you knew that what he didn't say in words, he showed in actions. And you were completely okay and in love with that. Bonus. Aizawa went to every single one of your doctor's appointments. And as much as he denied it, it would always get teary-eyed. he heard his child's heartbeat. He became the softest person when he was around you in your late months. He never argued or raised his voice or made sudden moments. It pissed the fuck out of you. And at the point where you hit him with a book once because he wouldn't let you near the stove. This didn't change when your babies were born. Just 3 months before giving birth, the doctor had some news for you. Twins. When he had heard the news, Shota almost literally fell from his chair. The day of the delivery came, and that man almost died in the hospital room with you. Everything you felt, he felt like it felt it. He gave you every little drop of support. He held your hand for the whole 10 hours. When his babies would finally arrive to the world, he was the happiest person alive. 2 little black-haired boys, completely healthy, incredibly small, and perfectly healthy. Every time they had to be taken away for tests and evaluations, his heart broke a little. He never once left the hospital building until you and the babies did. He looked very, very tired, but he refused to leave your side. And when all 3 of you could finally leave, he rushed up and down so you guys had everything needed when you got to your home. Because you were all of his precious gift, and he would treat you as so much. That is the end for this video. I hope you liked it. If you think I should do more multi-characters than single characters, I will. And so yeah. And again, like I say in almost every video now, give me a request. Yeah. Bye guys, and I hope you had a wonderful time. Bye.